Hello and welcome to Ula Tea Leaf Readings. My name is Lenore and tonight I'm going to be reading your tea leaves. This is a horoscope for Libra. If Libra is your solar, lunar, ascendant / rising sign, then this is a message for you. All right, let's get started. And so this is a bonus reading for Libra. And our card tonight is the Star. We'll go ahead and see what these tea leaves have to say. And so if you have not subscribed yet, please think about doing that. You can hit the little bell. It'll let you know when the next readings are coming out. It is free to subscribe. And now I'm just trying to keep an eye here. And you're going to hear me drinking. I'm sorry. I'm still getting over this flu thing. I'm feeling much better, but my throat just, we're in the after effects. And I'm keeping an eye out. We're under a tornado warning right now. While I'm recording, and there's just torrential rain and thunder and everything else. So, not so worried about the tornado, as it's fairly rare, but the power going out. So, we'll just hope we get through this. All right. So I see right here we have, it looks like a person wearing a hat. We can see kind of the body here and the leg here. Now I'm also seeing a skull right here. You can see the eyes and the nose and the mouth and it kind of almost looks like we have a large fish right here. Almost like he's looking down into the fish's mouth. And so I'm looking at this and it reminds me very much of, with the hat, it reminds me very much of like Papa Legba or, one of these, a psychopomp of sorts, right? It could be that this is a spirit, an intelligence, a deity, like Papa Legba. Or it could be something like, well, a psychopomp is one who ushers you through the process of dying, right? When you have left your body, your consciousness, your spirit, your soul is escorted into the underworld. And depending on the mythology, depending on the religion or the belief, different things happen. Right? Usually it's something like you are being judged, right? For your deeds, your karmic debt, and so on. Now I'm looking at this and it feels to me absolutely not anything about death happening in your life, so don't worry about that. But I do feel like this is kind of a little heads up. Something is ending. Right? And I feel like it could be something maybe even that like causes a lot of stress at first. And this could be something like being laid off, right? Maybe losing your job or, going for a raise and not getting it and really needing that money, the extra money to come in. And so it's kind of like, well, now I have to kind of consider, is this a place that I can continue to work? Do I need to get another job? Do I need to have like a side hustle? Do I need an extra side hustle? All these things. And, I think a lot of us are absolutely in this boat where we're constantly having to figure out, like, how am I, going to make all of this work? And I have to adjust things and figure out what's going to be the right thing for myself and for my family and so on. So I see this character kind of showing up and being like, listen, this is like the end of this chapter. Now, it's not a huge act in your life. I'm not saying it's like, you know, a huge rite of passage or kind of a huge shift that changes everything. Now, of course, our work absolutely is a fundamental part of our life. If you have a career or not, right? If you kind of, you know, do service work or whatever. Listen, all of these jobs, we spend so many hours of our life doing them. So yeah, they're absolutely fundamental. Not only because we need the money, right? But because we spend so much of our time there or thinking about it, right? So looking down the mouth of the huge fish, by the way, and this is where the blessing comes in. I think as this kind of shifts, as things get rearranged here, it may be, excuse me, it may be that, you know, this is like your worst fear. This is what you've counted on. Maybe you've worked here forever. Maybe you went to school just to get this kind of job, and now it's like, you know, it's not working out how you imagined it in your mind, you know, and that's difficult. It's difficult, but I feel like you're shifting into a period of time where, yeah, you're going to find something that's really going to be quite lucrative for you. And it doesn't seem like a blessing right now, but it will. Okay? The fish is resources, abundance, being able to eat and eat well. Okay? And so, yes, it is kind of this blessing in disguise. You know, I'm a Virgo, right? And I think this is part of it. I'm a Virgo, but also I have an ascendant Capricorn. And these two together, for me, if something changes, especially if I didn't know it was going to change, my absolute nightmare. Absolutely. Even when I know that it's going to work out, because I do. I know it's always going to work out one way or another. If I like it or not, it's going to work out. Okay? But it's like I'm devoted to the worry of the thing. And that's something I'm trying to figure out in my life. So you being a Libra, and we are very much kin, aren't we? Right next to one another. I feel like, yeah, this could be something that really stresses you out. It does. But I absolutely think it will lead to something better. Okay? Now, you know, all of this being said, maybe you are post-work. Maybe it's not your job that is changing. This could be another kind of situation. Maybe you're on a committee, or you're a volunteer, or, you know, you've started a business, a side business. It's not really working. You're trying to pivot, figure out how to work it out. You know, sometimes, and this is just, you know, this is the reality of things. Sometimes our first try, our second try, our third try, these ideas that we have, they just don't always work out. They don't catch on. And then you have to pivot and kind of begin again, right? Take the learning that you have had and apply it to this next thing. So please don't be afraid to try different stuff. Do not succumb to the worry. Don't feel like you have failed, okay? Failure is a gift, right? We know where not to tread when we have failed, right? We try something else. We adjust. We tinker. And then, hopefully, it gets a little bit better. And then it gets a little bit better after that. I'll tell you, even with this channel, constantly having to adjust things. You know, I know. even with the titles and things, they're not my favorite titles. If you watch my readings, you know, not exactly my personality per se, but you have to learn. You have to learn to get eyes on things, right? And so that's what it's all about. And that's just one aspect, right? It's all of the things, the lighting and the sound. Obviously, I haven't soundproofed my room yet. My husband's is soundproofed now, and it sounds beautiful, very buttery. Shout out to Dove and Serpent Tarot. But, you know, it's just, it really, don't give up. Keep working on it, you know, figuring out maybe it's not the right niche, maybe it's not the right, you know, something that, maybe it's a field that's oversaturated, or, you know, like an industry that is oversaturated. So find something else that works for you, right? Don't give up on it, because I see that big fish coming. Okay, let's see. So I see this large horse. You can see it right here, the eye and I think it's the bridle on the horse, on the nose, the reins and that whole contraption. We also have an arrow. We have one person here, and two children. And a person carrying a musical note. So I kind of almost feel like this is old stuff. And I'm looking at it and I feel like this is almost maybe like how you grew up. And there is this desire for horses, love of horses. I can just imagine you thinking about horses. And we also have a dog over here. This one kind of looks like a cat. I feel like in general, there's just a feeling of loving animals. And I almost like, well, here in America, we have something called 4-H. And I never really knew that much about it until fairly recently when I, you know, like 10 years ago when I moved out of the city. And what it is a program where children raise animals and then they show them. And it's to teach about farming and, you know, livestock and this kind of thing, taking care of animals and so on. And I almost wonder if you were involved in something similar to this, something where you got to be around animals. And it was just like your ultimate love. Or maybe it is that you wanted to be when you were young, and now that you're older, you've gotten into homesteading or maybe having some kind of rescue or something like this. Okay? Now, I think I feel like it's something that your parents kind of instilled in you somehow. Now, it's either that they were really into animals. Maybe they were, you know, they raised animals and you were raised around animals being raised. Or maybe it's the opposite. And they just did not allow you to have a dog or have a cat, or, you know, you didn't have a lot of opportunities to go and see animals or you know, be around them. And it kind of it set up this thing within you where that was your goal, right? Everything else, you know, was fine. You'll do whatever kind of work. You'll you know, hopefully maybe have a family or whatever. But the big thing, the big drive excuse me, the big drive my goodness, the big drive there was being able to have animals in your life. And I feel like that's something that you, almost like it's something that like saved you, right? This is something that has gotten you through some of the hardships. And I see with the arrow going up, it's like being able to do this kind of loving and affection and seeing the process, the natural process of animals in their their many phases and their absolute love, right? Animals are just pure love, even if they're not very cuddly, or maybe they're outside and they're working animals or whatever. I feel that there's just a immense love that exudes from all animals, and usually they're trying to get away from you, right, or hide from you or whatever. But there's just this sense of being outside of the human condition, the framework, and the categorizations that we have for everything. This is the love that is beyond the love that we understand. It is something that is beautiful and divine and in balance with all things as it should be. And so yes, I definitely I feel like it's no other place do you experience this kind of connection. And so yes, I feel this is a really important part of your life. And that is that, maybe you need to be making more time to be with your animals, or visiting animals, or whatever it is. Because it seems that it comes up here and it feels really important, like it's at the front of your mind. Now we have the number 31. We have a 2 here. We have a 2 here. We also have a couple of 7s right over here, 7 and 7. We have 51 again. Oh no, we had 31. Now we have 51. Okay, 31, 51. We have a 2. We have another 2. We have 2 7s. So lots of different numbers here. Some are repeating. And then also we have the solar disc here. So it is a sign of a symbol of God, the circle, but with the dot in the middle, right? Impregnated with the word. So this is spirit. Excuse me. And this is an illuminating factor in our life. And I need a drink. I'm sorry. Excuse me. I thought it was going to be all right. Poor Paul, he went to go film today and he couldn't. He's lost his voice completely. So, excuse me. My goodness, my goodness. We also have E and a U. EU. But yeah, we have that. So it is just, I think this is really a strong sign of spirit being very present in your life. Now, spirit is always present in your life, but I feel like it's very potent. You notice it. And let me just say, I appreciate everybody being worried about us being sick a lot. We don't have mold. I keep seeing comments about it, and I appreciate you. We don't have mold. We've had our house inspected more than once, not just for mold, although yes, for mold, definitely. But we just we just moved into a house, right? And so during that process, everything has to be inspected. Now, moving out of the old house, also things being inspected, right? So no mold. We're all good with that. We have a 4-year-old. She is in her first, well, now she just is ending her first year of preschool. Everybody in the class got hit with a respiratory thing. Every time there's a wave of something, we get it. And part of that is because, well, most kids when they start school, daycare, school, whatever, kindergarten, they will get sick quite often, and especially the kids in this like grouping of kids, because they were born during isolation and lockdown. So I appreciate the concerns. We're pretty healthy people. We are Whole Foods. I cook it up. We cook a lot, and we do vitamins and different supplements and all the teas and everything else. And I don't want people to worry. It's just part of what happens. Even this time, even the teacher has it, and she's around kids all the time. So it just kind of is what it is. Hopefully, as far as the pediatrician says, my own doctor said, my last checkup a couple months ago, hopefully in the next year or so, it'll be a lot less, once especially my daughter's immune system is better and she's not carrying everything home. So I just wanted to mention that. Not to like point anybody out, but I have seen on mine and my husband's channel, and he was telling me, and I was like, I don't know what we should say about that. I mean, we don't have, it is what it is. So anyways, we have an M here, and it looks like it's an M, and it has 2 people holding hands. I keep thinking this is mom. And it looks like, now on this side, it looks like a W, but it looks like 2 people with a wishbone. So I do feel like there's a sense of, it feels like almost this desire to be able to achieve, it's just one of your big drives is your mother. I feel like maybe she was a single mother, or maybe she struggled to probably keep the family together and organized and moving, through the days, getting things done, whatever, all the stuff that moms do. Also dads. I'm not going to say dads though. Dads also do the same things. But this mom, doing so much, primary parent for sure. Also probably working and trying to juggle all these things. And I feel like there's a sense of you wanting to continue to do well and succeed and make her proud, right? And I feel like that's like one of the ultimate things in your mind is like, I want to make my mom proud. Now, even if you don't have a good relationship with your mom, or maybe she's your best friend and she, loves everything about you, no matter if you're making, 20 grand a year, or if you're making, I don't know, 300 grand a year or whatever. That's like rich or whatever. And just this feeling of like she is happy with you no matter what. But I feel like it's like, this is your wish. This is your, and I think this fits into that star card. Ultimately, part of it though is that I don't think that you have like a ceiling, right? Or like There's not a set place where it's like, if I am succeeding in all of these ways, that is enough. That's when I know I'm doing well. I don't think that you have one set. I think every time you achieve your goals and you have, managed to get all the things that you ever hoped for and do the things that you ever hoped for, then it's like the bar moves, right? And I think part of it is that there's just a sense of it not being fulfilling, or at least not as fulfilling as you imagined it would be. And so I do feel there is just this, I feel like it's like you have to talk yourself down a little bit. Remind yourself, like, it's whatever I'm doing is good enough. Now, do I want to do some more? Yeah. And will I do some more? Yeah. Right? But it's never, ever going to feel like anything but just like, a step to something else. So unless you allow yourself to really look at your achievements, large, small, in between. And yeah, even maybe congratulate yourself. Remind yourself, hey, I've worked, myself to the bone at times to get to where I'm at. I never thought that I would do any of this. I have surprised even myself, right? But here's the thing. I am so, I'm so able, and I absolutely have the potential. And, I know it sounds cheesy and you're talking yourself up, you're gassing yourself up. Well, you know what? Sometimes we need to. Sometimes we have to. We also have to reel it in sometimes and be like, hey, man or lady. Can you tell I'm from California? Hey, slow it down. I need to take some time to enjoy what I've done. And I feel with that mom energy, it's very much like take a time out. Look at everything you've achieved thus far. Splendor in it for even just the moment. And then get back to work, right? And then get back to it. Okay, so we also have a 12 up here. The 2s keep coming. 2. Yeah, so I feel like 2 must be a big number. We also have 2 3s. We had a 31 over here, so the 3s are also a big number. 2s and 3s. All right, and I'm going to go ahead. We're going to take a look at the Wild Offering Oracle deck. Okay, and I'm just going to go ahead and flip through here. I'm going to stop where it feels right. It says, ambition. May I offer all my deepest longings to love itself and invite a divine plan beyond the mind's imagining. May I offer all my deepest longings to love itself and invite a divine plan beyond my mind's imagining. Please use me for the higher good. Please use me for the higher good. I like the colors on this one a lot. I like those blues. All right, Libra, I'm going to go ahead and tell you I love you because I do, and I thank you so much for spending this time with me. It is always such an honor to be able to bring these messages to you. And if you would be so kind as to like the video, it helps the channel. And if you have not subscribed, please think about doing that. It is free to subscribe. And if you'd like to leave a comment, please do. I read them all. I appreciate them all. And again, I appreciate the concern from people. I don't know. I don't want people to be worried. Well, you don't need to be. Everything's all good over here. We'll let you know. Believe me, I love talking about my ailments. So if anything comes up that seems worrisome, you're going to know about it. For sure. All right. So, Libra, again, I love you. I will talk to you later. And take care of yourself. Good night.